Welcome back. The New York City grand jury wrapped up yesterday. Still no vote on whether former President Trump will be indicted for alleged hush money payments during the 2016 presidential campaign. The jury heard testimony from former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker on Monday. Pecker had previously testified as part of this case. The grand jury is set to meet again on Wednesday. Joining me now is defense attorney, former prosecutor, and host of Nothing But the Truth podcast, David Bruno is here. David, great to see you.
Always great to see you, Maria.
Thanks very much for being here. So what do you make of this? The grand jury convenes, they reconvene, nothing happens, they're hearing testimony, and again, no vote yesterday.
Yeah, no, they recalled David Pecker. We know that he testified earlier in the grand jury presentation. It looks like a rebuttal case to a pro-lawyer that testified for Trump, saying that Michael Cohen shouldn't be believed. And look, my initial remarks here is, look, there's a saying that says that prosecutors can indict a ham sandwich. It is such a low standard of proof. We have to remember it's not that proof beyond a reasonable doubt. In New York, it's a reasonable cause to believe that a person has committed a crime. And there's 23 grand jurors in the grand jury, and they only need a majority. And it's such a low standard that really they control that presentation. Donald Trump doesn't have his attorneys in the grand jury to cross-examine any witnesses, and he was offered the opportunity to testify, but any criminal defense attorney wouldn't allow their client to go in there without being present. So this is a low standard. If they want to bring this, it's the manner of presentation and persuasiveness that they could bring into that room, and if they want to bring an indictment, I think they can.
I mean, how long are we going to go back and forth, though, about this? You know, Alan Dershowitz was with me on Sunday, basically saying what you just said. The DOJ passed on this. There's a lot of holes in this narrative from Alvin Bragg. Here's Alan Dershowitz with me Sunday. Watch.
They first targeted the individual. They both promised they would get Trump. Then they said, let's rummage through the statute books and see what we can find. And they rummaged, and they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find a statutory violation. So they made one up that was beyond the statute of limitations, that involved combining a misdemeanor that never occurred with a federal felony. This is one of the most dangerous precedents that any prosecutor has ever tried to establish in the United States.
I mean, David, this is all very disturbing. At the same time, you've got an IRS agent visiting the home of Matt Taibbi. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan wrote a letter to the IRS demanding answers on why agents conducted an unannounced visit of independent journalist Matt Taibbi's home while he was testifying before Congress, exposing the government's big hand and censoring information during the 2020 election. Jordan writes this: in light of the hostile reaction to Mr. Taibbi's reporting among left-wing activists, the IRS's actions could be interpreted as an attempt to intimidate a witness before Congress. David, your thoughts?
Oh, the irony, Maria. The witness was testifying before the subcommittee of the weaponization of the federal government. And we could talk about that in the Trump prosecution. We could talk about that with the IRS agent showing up. I mean, the IRS agent was basically the IRS agent appeared on basically a 2018 tax return that was filed electronically by a CPA about identity fraud. I mean, it is unbelievable, the timing of it, and one has to really believe why that agent shows up on the big day that witness testifies before the subcommittee of weaponization of the federal government.
David, the IRS will contact you a number of ways if they have questions for you. Have you ever in your life seen an IRS agent show up at someone's home to talk about their tax returns?
Absolutely not. Not if there's a concern about identity fraud in 2018 or now. A telephone call or a letter is typically common. Certainly not showing up at a house.
Extraordinary. David, thanks very much for weighing in on all of that. David Bruno joining us. The next hour of Mornings with Maria begins right now.